today we're going to be looking at the top 10 most iconic moments from my Melee career. Okay, so this was the first tournament that I ever played on stream. I think it was like my third tournament total. This was at Smash at Clarendon in Arlington, Virginia. The first locals that I'd gone to. And yeah, you can see my tag is Tekkenz. I think a few people know that. But basically, that was like my AIM screen name when I was in elementary school that my dad came up for me. Because my favorite game was Tekken, and my name starts with a Z, so we just made it Tekkenz. And yeah, I was really bad at the time, played White Marth, which I think most people don't know. Good times, though. Okay, yeah. I am wearing my VT shirt in this one, repping the Hokies. That's crazy. I look so much younger. But yeah, this is at the... I don't even know what tournament this is, but I know Ace of Flakes was a PR'd player at the time, and I had just gotten really good at the Puff matchup and was doing stuff like Pivot Tipper and stuff. So that was a big win for me. And these Xanadu's used to be really packed. I came there with a bunch of college friends from Tech. It was cool to kind of travel around with my college scene to these tournaments and stuff, because like that was like my whole friend group, and we were all getting better together. Yeah, this is my friend Eric giving the interview. I think I was really bad at answering the interview questions, and I think he was trying his best to conduct the interview, but I just wasn't like familiar with it. And I don't know why I have my backpack on. I'm not ready for any question. Like, this is the first time I've ever been interviewed in any context. But this was after the Arcadian that I had won in 2015. I was really close to getting PR'd, but I was kind of happy that I didn't, because they let me enter the Arcadian, and it was like $400 up for grabs for winning that tournament. And also here I came with a bunch of people from Virginia Tech, which was cool. And yeah, it was pretty formative for me, because I knew that it was like a stepping stone in my career for like getting to the next level. This one is actually crazy because it wasn't on stream, obviously. My friend Emo Dinosaur, who's from UMD, you can hear him popping off right now, recorded this on his cell phone, and it was in round 2 pools. So funny story is that I had to play Tafo before this set in Marthcheek, and that went last stock, like game 3 in the best of 3. But then I played Plup after, and I 2-0'd him, which I thought was pretty funny. I used to carry my controller in this lunchbox that had Elmo on it, and on the lunchbox it said "Too Cool," and that was just my case that I used. So I remember like strolling to the setup, I put down my lunchbox assertively, and Plup was already like sitting there. And I don't know if he remembers this, but he like looked me up and down like I was like a complete weirdo. And then yeah, I 2-0'd his ass. Also, on a serious note, like a really formative set for me, because it was kind of this point where I was like, I can like do this. I can make this work, this whole Melee thing. So it was really cool. And yeah, I ended up beating KJH after the set. So I actually made I got 17th at this tournament, which was definitely beyond anyone's expectations for me. Okay. Yeah, I've also talked about this one on my YouTube channel. Right there, when he shined me and I upbeat on stage, I remember having the conscious thought of, if I lose this, I'm going to throw up. And you can kind of see it on my face. Like, I was like, I'm about to throw up all over stage if he shines me here. And then, yeah, I thought that this was Chillin who hugged me. It was actually Hungrybox, because I saw like a glimpse of the Liquid jersey, right? And I was closer with Chillin at this time. I'd never really spoken a word to Hungrybox, so that was... It was definitely kind of like I was too happy and like full of adrenaline in the moment, but I was like, oh, it's Hungrybox, not Chillin. That's kind of weird. But yeah, crazy moment. Really glad that I didn't throw up, because that would have been pretty embarrassing, and I think a end to my Melee career, and that's what people would remember me for. So pretty fortunate there. Okay, so this was my first top 8, and it was really cool because it was in my hometown. And this was the start of a really beautiful relationship between me and SFET. Because I remember he was my draw for first round of top 8, and I was like, fuck yeah, that's doable. Getting here was actually kind of crazy, because I ended up beating a bunch of like MDVA people. I I think Chudat, Rishi, and Laud to get here. I really just cheesed him this entire set. It's actually pretty crazy. But yeah, I remember, yeah, that's Plank and Junebug rushing me on stage, a bunch of MDVA homies, Siren. Really cool moment to do it at my hometown. That was my second set with SFAT, actually. The first time that I had played him was Genesis that same year, and that one was a best of 3. And funny quick story about that, I remember I won the first game, then he won the second, and then he strikes Battlefield, I think, as a stage. And in my head, I was like, shit, where do I go? Because it didn't even cross my mind that someone wouldn't ban Final Destination. I was like, that's just not a thing that people do. So I take him to Yoshi Story, and then in the middle of the game, I was like, oh my god, this asshole did not ban FD, and I could have just gone there and won, because I was actually really good at the chain grab at the time. So that sucked, but I got my revenge here. Okay, yeah. So this was as I'm graduating from Virginia Tech, and I pretty much, this tournament gave me the full confidence to decide that I want to do Melee full-time, which was really nerve-wracking for me, but I actually had like a crazy Cinderella run this tournament. Did okay in pools, and then qualified for winners. Had Mango first, and won that, which was really shocking because Mango would body me all weekend and friendlies and stuff, but you just gotta have that belief that you can do it. This is actually the first set that we ever played. And yeah, after that, just went on even more of a crazy run. I beat Plup, game 5 again. Barely lost in BTK in winners finals, and then lost to Armada, which wasn't really close. There's a world where I win this tournament, actually, because my Mewtwo set was really close. I had no business winning this tournament, skill-wise. I don't know what would have happened to my mental if I did win it, actually. Like, do I just become an egomaniac and just start getting shit on after, and then I'm like, oh, well, this sucks? I don't know. It makes me think sometimes, like, what would have that done to my, like, confidence and mentality regarding the game? Like, I think sometimes you're not ready for the big win, but this one was a really important one for me because it was the start of that summer of 2018 where I was doing Melee as a career, and I was like, yeah, I'm not wasting my time. This one was like the beginning of that kind of stretch of me becoming a top 10 player. Yeah, I remember this one really fondly. Okay, yeah. I've watched this moment, like, I'm not joking, like 200 times. It's actually kind of unhealthy. But it was probably the most, I'm trying to think, like, pure joy moments that I've had in Melee. This first victory, especially over HBox, who had my number all of 2018. Again, I came with a bunch of college friends, which was awesome because they got to see me win my first major. They were in the crowd, and I could hear them, which was dope. And yeah, that double hit side B was actually an Armada tip that he gave me. It's cool that I think for me that I won the set doing that, like with the piece of advice that he gave me, right as unfortunately he was about to retire. But yeah, really dope tournament. It's weird, the whole crowd was with me for this one, and now these days, like, now that I'm like, I got the #1 position, you get rooted against pretty hard. So this was, I definitely remember this fondly. This was the end of that summer, and before this tournament I had 9th at EVO and 9th at SmashCon, which was just heartbreaking, and to win after that was just like the best feeling. Okay, yeah, this was, oh man, I feel nervous just looking at this, because this, I think if he resets me here, I think I lose a set, just from a mentality standpoint. But this was a very like pivotal moment in my career for sure. I'd actually already signed with Golden Guardians before this tournament, so I was a free agent. Obviously Ludwig had signed me for this event, but to win this tournament on Lud's team and then have Golden Guardians pick me up right with the momentum of winning this tournament was just like the perfect storm. And also my first super major. How did I won this on the windmill, actually. I forgot about that. I remember thinking too, like, do I let it time out? Do I just like stay on ledge here? But I was like, no, that's not gonna work. Yeah, that was the fair that did it. It's funny watching like transformations have such a big part in Melee. And I remember, yeah, my girlfriend Caitlin coming up on stage to hug me. She jumped in my arms, and I was like, I didn't see her again. My peripheral vision when I win these big moments is evidently really, really blurry. But I remember like picking her up and being like, God, I hope this is Caitlin and not someone else. Because I was like, that'd be really embarrassing and weird. But yeah, I was glad it was her. I always do this thing when I win tournaments where I have my moment, I start like moving around a bit, and then I just start drinking water because I don't know what else to do, and I'm like really thirsty and lightheaded. Oh, baby. This is the most important day of my life. So, for context, this is on delay-based Melee before rollback, and shoutouts to Home Waffles because he was keeping Melee alive with his stream and like hosting these online tournaments. And I had won Genesis, and I was feeling like I was the #1 player in the world, but it was kind of stripped away from me with this online, or with the lack of tournaments that was happening. And so once these like online stuff started happening, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna play some Roy if like not a super large amount of top players are entering. And I found out that like if I play him like kind of similarly to Marth, and Brandon's pop-off is so funny. Yeah, he has some stuff, especially versus Facies. And another cool thing was like I felt like it was making my Marth better in the process, just more patient and more appreciative of what things and tools I have with Marth. And yeah, this tournament I beat J-Flex into 2 Saint, which was Roy Puff, which is like really, really hard, into KJH, into Bobby Big Balls, into Ginger. So like an actually insane run. But yeah, this was the first big one, and the start of something, depending on how you view it, something beautiful or really, really ugly, depending on how you feel about my Roy. But yeah, it was really good for the stream too during the beginning of pandemic because I was bored, people were bored, and they're like, Roy and Melee is just running these tournaments, like, let's fucking go. I'll watch that. Okay. Yeah, so this is to kick off 2022. I really wanted to prove to myself mainly, but also to the world, that the stuff that I did online wasn't a fluke, that it was legitimate, and that I was the best player, and am the best player. Being able to do this at a LAN tournament of this caliber, a super major, was everything to me. I put in a lot of like preparation work. My mentality was great the entire time. Yeah, just really glad I was able to kick off the year like that. And I mean, I can't not talk about J-Mook either, because I knew who he was, but I didn't know he was that good. Even when I was up 2-0, I was like, I need to shut this down right now because this guy is actually really insane and could beat me. Crowd was completely for J-Mook, which I don't blame them. Like, it's a Cinderella run. He's a new player. He plays in a really like flashy, fast manner. So it makes perfect sense to me. But for me, I was in such a like primal competitive state of wanting to win that it just felt like white noise to me. That's kind of the lesson I have to take with me too for future tournaments. If I keep performing as like #1, just being able to realize like, yeah, obviously people are going to cheer for the underdog, but I'm here to stop it.
And is there any moment that you think we missed?
No, I think who curated the list? Is it Zeke?
Yeah, yeah, Zeke did.
I think he actually just killed it in terms of like events and stuff. He definitely nailed it. Obviously, there are like things that people don't see, like the friendships made and stuff of people that I've met through Smash, which for me is still like the most important thing. Is like I have so many friends that I've made through my college scene, through MDVA, and even nationally. It's just progressing that way. They're just lifelong friends that I've made because of this game. That's just the most important aspect for me. Even if I like became the worst player in the world or something, I'd still have these friends, and I think that's really cool.